The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days. Grey clouds hung low over the small town of Ashwood. The streets looked empty. The trees swayed in the cold wind. And inside a modest auto repair garage near the edge of town, 38-year-old Ryan Parker tightened the last bolt on an old pickup truck. His hands were covered in grease. His shirt was stained. His back ached from 12 straight hours of work. But he didn't complain. He never did. Ryan had learned a long time ago that life didn't care about complaints. Life only cared whether you kept going. The garage owner walked over. "You heading home, Ryan?" Ryan nodded. "Yeah." The older man smiled. "See you tomorrow." Ryan forced a small smile. "See you." A few minutes later, Ryan climbed into his aging truck and drove through the rain-soaked streets. The town looked exactly the same as it had looked for years. Nothing changed. Nothing exciting ever happened. And honestly, Ryan preferred it that way. Because excitement had once destroyed his life. 6 years earlier, everything had been different. Back then he had dreams. Back then he had plans. Back then he had her. Emily Carter. The love of his life. The woman he believed he would marry. The woman he believed he would grow old beside. The woman he never stopped loving. Even after all these years. Ryan still remembered the first day they met. He had been 27. She had been 25. A summer festival in town. Live music. Food trucks. Children laughing. And one beautiful woman accidentally spilling lemonade all over his shirt. He had been annoyed for exactly 3 seconds. Then she smiled. And suddenly he couldn't remember why he was upset. From that moment forward, everything changed. Their relationship moved quickly. Not recklessly. Naturally. Like two people who had been searching for each other their entire lives. Emily was kind. Funny. Smart. The type of person who remembered birthdays. Who helped strangers. Who cried during movies. Who believed every problem could be solved if people simply cared enough. Ryan loved everything about her. And she loved him too. At least he thought she did. For 3 wonderful years they built a life together. Weekend road trips. Late-night conversations. Plans for a house. Plans for children. Plans for forever. Then one day, she disappeared. Not literally. But close enough. Emily received a job offer in another state. A major opportunity. The kind of opportunity people wait their entire lives for. Ryan expected they would make it work. Long distance. Visits. Phone calls. Whatever it took. But Emily shocked him. She ended the relationship. Just like that. No argument. No betrayal. No dramatic fight. Simply a painful goodbye. "I need to do this alone." Those were the last words she said before leaving. Ryan remembered every syllable. Because those words shattered him. For months he called. Texted. Emailed. Nothing. Eventually the messages stopped. The calls stopped. The hope stopped. And little by little, Ryan convinced himself she was gone forever. He never married. Never seriously dated again. Not because he couldn't. Because he didn't want to. Every woman he met reminded him of someone else. Someone he couldn't forget. The years passed. Life moved forward. Or at least it appeared to. But some wounds never fully heal. Some people never fully leave. And Emily Carter remained one of them. Ryan parked outside his small house. Rain tapped against the windshield. For a moment he stayed inside the truck. Listening. Thinking. Remembering. Then he shook his head. Enough. The past was the past. It didn't matter anymore. Or so he thought. The next morning began like any other. Coffee. Work boots. The drive to the garage. Nothing unusual. Nothing special. Until lunchtime. Ryan walked across the street to a small diner. The same diner he visited almost every day. The waitress already knew his order. Turkey sandwich. Coffee. No dessert. Routine. Predictable. Safe. Ryan liked safe. But fate rarely asks permission before changing everything. The bell above the diner door rang. Ryan barely looked up. Then froze. Completely froze. His coffee cup stopped halfway to his lips. His heart slammed against his chest. Because standing in the doorway was Emily. For a second he genuinely believed he was imagining things. 6 years. 6 long years. And there she was. Exactly as he remembered. Almost. A little older. A little wiser. A little sadder. But undeniably Emily. The room seemed to disappear around him. The conversations. The dishes. The music. Everything faded. Then Ryan noticed something else. She wasn't alone. A little girl stood beside her. Maybe 5 years old. Long brown hair. Bright eyes. Tiny pink jacket. And one small hand tightly holding Emily's. Ryan's stomach dropped. The sight hit him harder than seeing Emily herself. The child looked happy. Comfortable. Loved. And immediately his mind jumped to conclusions. Of course it did. The little girl must be her daughter. Emily had moved on. Built a family. Created a life. While Ryan remained trapped in the past. The realization hurt more than he expected. Much more. For a brief moment he considered leaving. Walking away. Pretending he never saw her. But then something happened. Emily looked up. And their eyes met. Instantly. Across the crowded diner. The color drained from her face. She stopped walking. The little girl looked up at her curiously. Neither Ryan nor Emily moved. 6 years of unanswered questions filled the silence between them. Neither knew what to say. Neither knew where to begin. Finally Emily whispered something to the child. The little girl nodded. Then Emily slowly walked toward Ryan's table. Every step felt like a lifetime. Ryan's pulse raced. His hands trembled. He hated that. Hated how much power she still had over him. Emily stopped beside the table. For several seconds neither spoke. Then finally. "Hi, Ryan." The familiar sound of her voice nearly broke him. 6 years. And somehow it still felt like yesterday. He forced himself to remain calm. "Hi, Emily." The little girl stared curiously. Looking from one adult to the other. Emily swallowed hard. "You look good." Ryan almost laughed. He didn't look good. He looked tired. Older. Weathered. But he understood what she meant. "It's been a while." Emily nodded. "Yeah." The understatement nearly made him smile. A while. 6 years. 2,000 days. Thousands of unanswered questions. Thousands of sleepless nights. A while. Ryan glanced toward the little girl. Emily noticed. Immediately. A strange expression crossed her face. Not guilt. Not fear. Something else. Something Ryan couldn't identify. The little girl smiled. "Hi." Ryan managed a small smile back. "Hi." Emily looked nervous. More nervous than he'd ever seen her. And that alone told him something important. Whatever reason she had for returning. It wasn't simple. Finally Ryan spoke. "What are you doing here?" Emily opened her mouth, then closed it again, as if searching for the right words. But before she could answer, the little girl tugged on her sleeve. "Mom." The word hit Ryan like a punch. Mom. There it was. Confirmation. Everything he suspected. Everything he feared. Emily was a mother now. A family. A child. A life completely separate from his own. Ryan looked away, trying not to let the disappointment show. But Emily noticed. Of course she did. And suddenly her expression changed. Almost like she realized exactly what he was thinking. "Ryan." Her voice softened. "Things aren't what they seem." Ryan looked back at her, confused. The little girl squeezed Emily's hand tighter. Emily took a deep breath. A shaky breath. Then she said something that made Ryan's heart stop. "I came back because of her." The diner suddenly felt very quiet. Very small. Very strange. Ryan stared at the little girl. Then at Emily. Questions flooded his mind. Hundreds of them. But before he could ask a single one, Emily's eyes filled with tears. And for the first time since she'd walked into the diner, Ryan saw something he never expected. Fear. Real fear. The kind of fear that comes when someone is carrying a secret too heavy to hold any longer. Whatever Emily had returned to say, whatever truth she had carried across 6 years, it was bigger than Ryan imagined. Much bigger. And deep inside, a feeling began growing. A feeling he couldn't explain. Because the little girl standing beside Emily had the same eyes he saw every morning in the mirror. To be continued.